Monday. It is May 1st.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday edition of the Uninformed Fan. We have made it all the way to, what is it, May? May? We're in May already. Welcome to May. That means the bills are due. Sorry. Rent's due. Mortgage due. Everything's due. First of the month. Not a
Whatever you got.
yeah.
I don't care.
That's a good point. Because apparently you have more rights if you don't pay something than the people that do pay something in this society.
Oh, boy. This is how we're starting today.
We are going to start with you know what? Now that I think about this, before we get into everything and we, figure out how everybody had, did you see the thing where this administration has come out and said, for those that are buying a house, if you have good credit score, you're going to pay a higher interest rate, and that higher interest rate and fees is going to help the people that don't have a good credit score get a lower rate. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I think it worked out to, it was like a cap of like $40 a month extra or something like that. So, I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Hey, you're responsible. You have a good credit. Cheers to you. Woo!
I don't really subscribe to either political party because they're all scumbags for the most part.
If this would have came out under any other administration, I would have said the exact same thing. I mean, you know me, I hate them all. But yeah, so that's how we're going to do it. So outside of being, behind, on your mortgage or anything else that you have coming up for those of you trying to buy, how are we doing today, Jeffrey? How was your weekend?
I'm good. Speaking of, I actually saw it was an interesting interview between Elon Musk and Bill Maher. I love Bill Maher's show. I've been watching it for a very long time. He's kind of, always been a very left-leaning person, but, is more of a moderate. And he had Elon on talk to him for about 20 minutes in an interview. And, I enjoy Elon's answers a lot of the times, to be perfectly honest with you, Quirky guy, but, he's an innovator. I'm sure they said the same thing about, Aristotle and, Socrates and, these guys who had different views and different ideas for the world that, transform things. So
he's a good talker. Sometimes I wonder if he's completely full of shit. But he is a good talker. One of the most brilliant minds of our time, obviously.
Crazy.
And, but as somebody that's been waiting for the Tesla Cybertruck for 3.5 years.
Well, that's, we got to say, he didn't have COVID on his bingo board. It wasn't in the
There's nothing to do with COVID. You know what he did, right? So this is how smart this man is. There's over like 385,000 orders for this pre-order truck, and everybody had to put down $100 deposit. Jeremy, little quick math on the left there. Yeah. And so basically when that came out, like within the first 2 months, they had over 200,000 orders. Okay. Within the first 2 months. Now it's, as I said, it's been 3.5 years. Jeremy, quick math. I don't see any typing going on over there. It's in the billions. Okay. Billions of dollars that he raised doing this. And guess what that money's been doing? Just sitting there accruing money, building whatever else he needs to do. He built out the entire Giga Texas Cybertruck facility with buyers' money. Smart. Super smart. Super smart.
Think of it like this. Technically, you're an investor in Twitter. You just don't receive any dividends for it. But maybe one day you can buy a truck.
Yeah. God, here we go again. The whole truck thing really pisses me off. Correct. And it's not the truck that I wanted because I had a Ford truck on order for over 1.5 years as well. So an F450, I settled for an F250, not what I wanted, not the package I wanted, whatever. So I take it in this morning at 7:30 in the morning to get an oil change, and I see that there's a brand new F450 sitting on the lot, right? It's not mine. It's not my trim package otherwise. Well, who knows? It could have been. It's all blacked out. It's got a little bit of a raise on it. New tires, beefed up tires, same package, everything. Now, that truck sticker price coming off of 2022 was about $98,000, somewhere around that neighborhood. Now they've done a lot of stuff to it. I would say they probably put $15,000 to maybe $20,000 worth of stuff into it with the lifts and some lighting and everything. So you figure it's about $120,000. I'm going to give you 2 guesses of how much they're asking for that truck.
You want me to actually guess?
Yeah, and I want you to be egregious.
Let's see. 7%.
Egregious. I want you to get egregious.
150.
$178,000. And you know what the worst part about it is? I saw somebody drive in because obviously the salesmen aren't there that early, and I'm pretty sure it was the general manager comes rolling up the Ford dealership into his special parking spot. What do you think he's driving?
No clue.
A Lamborghini Urus.
It's a nice car too, I must say.
Up yours, Ford. Up yours. But other than that, it's a beautiful day out here. We had a great weekend. Had the family over last night. We made a little shepherd's pie. Good. Watched some Game 7s. We watched the rocket launch last night. They'd never seen a rocket launch.
And it was, you watched the Bruins game with some Boston fans?
I did, and I was low-key cheering for the Panthers, too.
Yeah, I know. You were blowing up the group text with that. Like, let's go, Florida. I'm like, this man... Many men wish death upon me. You know,
yeah, it was a good. Luckily though, the in-laws left before the OT score, so I could celebrate a little bit. But did you get a chance to? Have you watched one of the rocket launchers at night?
I mean, I've seen the rocket launches before. My dad worked out at NASA for a little while.
It's pretty cool, man. When it's just now this one, the sun was a little bit up, but you could just still see the red streak. I was telling them the best one was it was 2:00 in the morning. And it's just pitch black, and you can the whole sky is lighting up. It's
awesome too. Like the bar had just shut down, and everybody's feeling it, and everybody's standing out back, and the rocket goes off, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's so cool." It's like, "Oh man, all we needed to unify, everybody in that bar was."
My father-in-law Mike though was pretty funny. He goes, "This is just a billionaire and his toys." This is literally the kid outside in high school that builds the rocket that shoots up a parachute. He goes, he's just doing that on a bigger scale.
Pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it is. I would too. Why not?
He's trying to get us to Mars to live on that planet in case this one ever becomes unlivable, I mean, whatever.
Did you see that they found another planet that's habitable and habitable? Is that right? Habitable?
Habitable.
Habitable?
I don't think it's habitable.
I kind of like habitable, though.
No, then roll with it,
They found another planet that's habitable in another light year away or whatever, that apparently you can live 1,300 years for whatever reason in that planet with the atmosphere's pressure and everything that they have in there. Yeah. Hopefully by my time, we got to see some aliens at this point, right? I mean, come on. All of this interstellar parallel universe. Apparently there's a portal in Tennessee that, that people can go. Skinwalker Ranch. I mean, dig into it, man. Dig into it. Some good stuff there. Good stuff.
No, I'm good, actually. I'm just going to live my life in, merry bliss and ignorance, and just, be blind. Fine. Also, don't you think that we would have had some kind of contact from aliens though?
We have Roswell.
That's the only thing.
Roswell's confirmed. They got bodies out of Roswell. That's the thing. The government knows everything, bro. It's in some sealed thing over there. They can't let us know because we can't even figure out what gender we are. So let alone they're gonna let us start figuring out what aliens are around us, who's invading us. I'm telling you, dude. It's out there.
You're whatever gender you want to be, Tyson.
I know. That's what I said, but we can't figure it out which one we want to be.
Because gender is not biological.
Oh God, I'm not even getting into this. So let's get into some sports on this one right here. So we had Men in Black does really exist, Jeremy. I've been on the inside. Let's talk a little sports. We had a couple Game 7s in hockey last night. We had a game over the weekend. We had Game 7 with the NBA. Let's go ahead and kick it off. Let's start off with that. The Kings, as I said, I thought that they were going to win that game. Actually, I didn't say that they were going to win the game. I said if they win that game in Golden State, I'd like them to come home and complete the closeout of the Golden State Warriors. They went to Golden State, closed it out, did what they had to do. They came back in Sacramento last night. They looked good for the majority of the first half. I was talking, we were watching the game, we were sitting outside, it was beautiful, 20-mile-an-hour winds. I said they need to stay within 5 points. And with 52 seconds left in the first half, they were down by 5 points. They were down by 10 going into halftime. I said, ugh. So then they came out. I said they have to withstand the third quarter. They have to withstand the third quarter. They have to keep it within under a single digits. They can't get over 10. At the end of the third quarter, I think they were down by 14. I said, that's it. And it was. Steph Curry, absolutely amazing. 50 points leading the way. Outside of him, I mean, there wasn't really anybody that had the magic. Of course, Looney showing up again, 21 boards. My man, crashing the boards, those second chance opportunities. I mean, the Kings just kind of, Sabonis had a decent game, 22 points. He did have a pretty much a rocky black eye from the other no call from the other night. Fox, is he still hurt? Only putting up 16, and then Barnes with only 4 points. I mean, the Kings just, I think, kind of shrunk in the moment a little bit. But all you can say is looking forward to the Kings. I mean, you got a huge future in front of you, almost taking down the Warriors, who are arguably probably one of the deepest teams in the entire league. Nothing that you can't hang your hat on and move forward. But the Golden State Warriors are moving on. What were your thoughts on that series and those last couple games?
A few thoughts. I thought Game 6 was absolutely abysmal for Golden State, and their team dynamic is they've had a lot. They're struggling a lot this year with some things. The young guys wanting more burn and playing time, and the old heads kind of pushing back against it, saying, "Listen, our time's not up yet." Just like the Lakers on the other side, with them. It feels the same way. It's almost like, we're waiting to push the young cats through, and the old heads are like, listen, we're not done yet. We have another ride in us. We're going to make this journey. An incredible game from Steph Curry. You're going to talk about a guy shoots 50% from the field, scores 50 points in a closeout game in a Game 7 on the road, when we know that you only won 11 games all year on the road. It was the worst record in the history of the NBA by a defending champion on the road. Those are facts. You guys were terrible. I love it that I love the way that they played in this game. It just seemed like everybody had each other's back. I am going to try to pull up. There was a story about it, about how Draymond is normally the voice in that locker room, and he's the one who speaks and everybody listens. And Steph very rarely is the guy to step up and give a rah speech. And basically, there was a story that the way it went is Steph ended up stepping up to make a speech in that locker room that was super impassioned. I wish we had the video from it. I'm just going to kind of read you a little excerpt of it. Steph said, "If you're in this space, you're going to fold or rise up." He said, once he said that, you have no choice but to rise up. He got everybody locked in. Steph said, "If you're getting on this bus, you're making a commitment to this team, no matter if you play 0 minutes or 40 minutes. You're making a commitment to do whatever it takes. Prepare your mind and body for this opportunity we have. We got embarrassed the other way, and we're never going out like that." So that was the rah speech that he gave. Obviously, the proof is in the pudding. To say that, to do that, and then to come out and put it on the performance that he did in the show that he did. Incredible. One of the best of all time. We can't name you the best point guard of all time yet. There's still a guy named Magic Johnson who holds that title in that role. But man, the way you've changed the game, the way you've approached every game, hats off to Steph Curry.
Biggest performance in a Game 7 history. Highest scoring in a Game 7 history by him. When we talked a lot about letting one person beat you. We've talked about that with a few different coaches, and we talked about with Jimmy Butler. But the difference with Steph Curry is you can double team him, but the problem is he doesn't need room to shoot. You're still double teaming him. You're screening. If you're not rolling over the top of that screen or switching off and somebody's directly to, he only needs a split second, and all of a sudden the ball is up, and lo and behold, it goes in. And let's be honest, this series he didn't even have, in my opinion, I don't know what the stats exactly are, but he didn't have his best percentage of 3-point shooting. I saw him missed a lot of threes during this series, which it could have been a lot worse. But you're absolutely right. That speech was something. What you're talking about, I guess I guess they've been around that long, but I'm just still not ready to call Steph Curry an old head, man. I'm just not. He still looks like the baby face, when he shortly came out of the league. I see no fall off out of him, honestly. I really don't.
How old do you think Steph Curry is?
I mean, he's got to be probably upper 30s, I would think. 37?
I'm pretty sure mid 30s. I believe. I believe he's like
34.
34, 35. Yeah, 35. He's 35. Born March 14th, 1988. So he is an 80s baby. Shout out to us 80s babies out here. Some of the best.
Yeah, right, man.
Are you kidding me? In terms of heirs, think about 80s children, right? We lived with no internet. We lived with, all the old stuff that you guys had, like.
Wait, hold on. First of all, when do you think I was born?
1955. No?
Oh.
You were at Woodstock in the 70s, weren't you?
Yeah, man. Yeah, peace and love.
Those stories that I heard.
Peace and love. Absolutely.
No, but this all I'm saying is this, right? We had to go through the situation of, like, we still had to call, like, let's say you wanted to talk to a girl or talk to your friend. You had to call their house, talk to their parent on the phone before you were able to get through to said child or parent. Like, we were one of the last generations that had to go through that, because then internet, cell phones, everything came out, as we were growing up and kids. I just think we're the best generation.
It's literally the same childhood that I've had. Literally the same childhood.
No, but you were older. You were a little older,
Oh my God!
Anyway, Steph Curry is 34 years old, and when you think about the amount of tenure that you normally have on a body, to be able to play. I mean, Jordan played 16 seasons. Steph's in his 14th season.
We took 3 years off too. Yeah, I don't know. But again, I don't see him falling off. But to me, like to your point, back to this, obviously there's some discontent with Jordan Poole for whatever reason. And, to me, it just seems very weird that you're on a Golden State team that is the defending champions. He was there last year, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Yep.
And he got paid. That's also like
right.
Him and Draymond, but, have their history.
Got the contract, right? And you got the ring, okay? Your time is going to come. But you got paid, but you're still on the defending champion team, and you're going to sit there during a game and show discontent and discord with your teammates, and not shake Draymond's hand, not talk to Steph, kind of push away. I know you didn't see that video, and it's just like, okay, well, what is your end game here? What, because you're not getting the ball enough? As long as you're winning, who cares? And I think that's where a lot of NBA players suffer when it comes to, I'm the superstar, I need to do this, I need to have this, I need to be put in this position, otherwise I'm unhappy. Guess what, guys? It's a team sport. You're playing with probably one of the greatest point guards of all time, definitely one of the best shooters, if the best shooter, I'll say that, the best shooter that this game has ever seen. Right? I mean, you're playing with Draymond he has 4 rings, regardless of what you think about, him, his playing style, or even him. He's got 4 rings. You got Klay Thompson, who's probably another top 5 all-time shooter in the NBA. He definitely has come off a little bit since his surgery, but he still has the stroke. I mean, you got the pieces, and plus you got Steve Kerr, who not only won, 3 rings as a player, 4 rings or 3 rings as a coach. Like, what are you trying to do here, man? Like, are you trying, if you want out, just say you want out at the end of the year. Don't take the paycheck that you signed. Or what was I just don't understand what some of these players' mentality is when it comes to that. I'm glad to see that Steph actually stepped up and did that, because he does kind of seem like the more reserved type. He's just kind of the one that just doesn't make waves, goes about it, plays his game, does what he needs to do to win, and moves on to the next one. So it was really nice to see him come up and not only make the speech, but tend to drop 50 on top of it. I mean, that's some GOAT shit right there.
Reminds me a lot of myself, honestly. Just quiet, head down, grinder, shows up in big moments. We have a lot of similarities, me and Steph Curry.
Except for when it comes to pool basketball. You shrink in that moment.
Jesus Christ. I'm pretty sure every male shrinks in the pool.
Oh, we are not doing this again. Justice is not clipping this. No. And just to wrap it up on the series, I really feel like the Kings just shrunk. You know, I think Fox is still hurt. I don't think he's 100%. Sabonis did what he could, but again, it felt like it was kind of like what we saw from Anthony Davis. It was more of the flip the switch. When do I want to play really, really hard, and when do I want to go through the motions? We saw what Sabonis could do when he really applied himself and tried to take over games when Fox was hurt. Barnes not showing up. I mean, 4 points. I mean, I don't know. I think that the Kings just kind of shrunk in the moment a little bit there. Like they were saying, Golden State is the defending champions. They played in a Game 7. They've been through this numerous times as far as, you know, winning on the road. The Kings haven't done that. I really felt them going back home would give them the boost that they needed, but I just question whether or not the Kings were 100% healthy to end this series.
Listen, I think it wears on you. Like De'Aaron Fox talked about, you know, J.R. Smith had that comment about how Matthew Dellavedova almost died trying to guard Steph in the finals that one year. And De'Aaron Fox, after game 1, goes, he's 100% correct, because Steph just does not stop moving, and that wears and wears and wears on you, especially when you're the guy chasing him all over the court, trying to chase him off spots. You double team him, and they're so good. They've doubled Steph so much over the years that he knows it's a kick to Draymond, Wiggins with a backdoor cut, and it's an automatic dunk, or Looney's down there, one of the three. In my opinion, the Warriors are about to roll through the Lakers, for the simple fact that those matchups are not good for LA. LA is going to struggle to run around, chase around, and guard Steph. I mean, look, just the way that the matchups work, like, I know that Looney and Draymond are going to kind of force Anthony Davis to be what Anthony Davis is sometimes. It's a very tough matchup for them unless LeBron goes scorched earth, you know, man on fire, Denzel Washington type of an epic rant here. I don't see it happening. I think Golden State wins in less than 6 games.
Well, so moving on to the Lakers series, they did finish off the Grizzlies 4-2. D'Angelo Russell was the story of this one, putting up 31 points alongside LeBron's 22, Anthony Davis's 16. And to your point, D'Angelo Russell is going to have those types of games, along with Austin Reeves, who didn't do a whole lot this game. But those two are definitely going to be the key factors in this series. Like you said, who's going to guard Steph? And then to your point about being worn out guarding Steph, not only are you running around chasing him across the floor, you're also getting body checked on every single play, because you're getting picked at every single play trying to find him. And yes, that does wear down. You know, if the closer that you get to an NBA court, you think that we see a lot of questionable calls, right? And, you know, like, dang, that could have been a foul. I'm telling you guys right now, there could be a foul on every single play that happens in the NBA. If you look at some of the big men's arms, even some of the guards, look at their arms after the end of the games. They're scraped, they're cut, they're bleeding, they're bruised.
Jokic.
Yeah, we'll get to Jokic, man. That guy's a freaking yo-yo. But yeah, so who's going to play that way, right? Who's going to play that physical? You know Draymond's going to play that physical. Steph doesn't play a physical game. However, he makes it physical by having to go through as many picks and rolls and screens as you have to guard him. And then you have Klay Thompson doing the same thing. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Lakers match up. I agree with you. I think the Warriors have way too much run and gun here. I don't know exactly how this... I'm not ready to call this series yet. Just simply for the fact I just don't know. I just don't know. Sometimes the NBA gets a little weird, you know, with the Lakers and their superstars. I'm not saying it's rigged.
I don't see it. And listen, if Sacramento would have won the series against Golden State, I would have told you that the Lakers are 100% beating Sacramento. Not even a question. LeBron James might be skipping to another NBA championship. But the Warriors are a completely different animal. And they've been a thorn in LeBron's side for the latter half of his career. And it's just kind of like, I don't want to say poetic justice, but, you know, if you write storylines and you write Hollywood scripts, this is a good one to
correct. The Lakers haven't faced the Warriors since 1991. That series there, and you know, Steph Curry against LeBron in the playoffs is 15-7. Now, granted, you had Kevin Durant in that mix for a little while, so that is that's going to be skewed when you have Kevin Durant with Klay Thompson. All of the basically the same big pieces that Golden State still has, and Kevin Durant on top of it. Even if you don't count it as an offensive weapon, the fact that the Durantula and the rebounds and stuff like that, it's obviously going to be a huge factor. So, I hope. I think the Warriors are going to win. I think the way that the Lakers played against the Grizzlies, I mean, I think Morant, only put up 10 points in the last game. His hand is obviously bothering him. I mean, he has a full freaking, basically like a club of football on his hand. Bane and Brooks only combining for 25 points and 9 rebounds in that game. And, and there's Center Tillman, only 6 boards, right? You're going to see a lot more of that play against with Golden State. You're going to see Looney crashing the boards, continuing with his 15 rebounds per game, kicking out. I think it's just a recipe. I don't know who's going to be able to stop Golden State, to be 100% honest with you. The only one that maybe be able to match up is the Phoenix Suns, just because of the amount of point guards that they have in CP3, Booker, being able to guard those guys and be able to switch off. But it's going to be very, very interesting. Lakers versus the Warriors, and I believe that is starting on May 2nd. May 2nd is when that series is going to start.
One day off, and we're back at it like a crack addict, baby.
We're back at it. We don't get it off, but we actually started another series while in the middle of all of this stuff. The Nuggets did take game 1 at home versus the Suns. 6 players in double digits, for the Nuggets. Jokic with 24, Jamal Murray with 35, and Aaron Gordon, I know your old boy, with 23. That's your boy. Okay. I know. But, again, watching Joker play, man, he just looks like a guy that's out there on a playground having some fun, doing whatever he needs to do to make it work, and it continues to work. I would have never thought that this game would have been as blowoutish, I guess if you want to call it. I mean, that it was. Booker putting up 27, Durant put up 26. I mean, they were still in the game.
Turnovers killed them.
Yeah, a lot of turnovers. But the fact that they won by, almost 20 points at the end was a little suspect. I don't think you're going to see that again.
I think that this is a problem for Phoenix. They have fundamental problems matching up with the Denver Nuggets. The problem is that Jokic is able to draw Ayton outside of the paint. And Ayton likes to float around the three-point line a lot anyway. He likes that kind of mid-range game sometimes. He likes to shoot the ball. But the problem is that you don't have another rim protector. Bismack Biyombo is not the rim protector that he was 15 years ago, for the Toronto Raptors or for the Charlotte Hornets. And Kevin Durant's not protecting the rim either. And you have legitimate guys on that team in Denver in terms of Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon who can turn corners and attack the rim hard. Well, like we always say, what happens when that everybody collapses? Jamal Murray's wide open and he's banging your head off the court. It's a tough one, dude. And I will say this. This will be a very interesting job by Monty Williams and how he figures out this X's and O's. Tonight is a very interesting game. I can't wait to watch a little bit of it. Hopefully when I get off work and see what kind of adjustments he's made, because that first game, it was just too easy for them. The Nuggets, it looked like they never broke a sweat. They never worried about a thing. It was just like clockwork. It's what they've done a million times in a row. And it was over.
It was over at halftime.
And then meanwhile, it's like, KD and D-Book still put up points, but they put up points and they were meaningless points almost. I don't know. It's tough. And they're not deep either. They traded all their depth for Kevin Durant. So it's not like you have guys to go to the well with when you need a bucket and one of those guys isn't in the game. So, tonight,
like Joe just said,
be amazing.
Jokic had 8 offensive rebounds. The entire Suns team had 8 combined. I mean, crashing the boards. I mean, it's just one of those things. But I think we're starting to see a little bit of a pattern here between Denver and, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first, the game ones, they've blown out every game.
Well, we only have 2 to go off of, but yes, they blew out Minnesota and they blew out Phoenix, I guess, in terms of a blowout.
2-0, baby. 2-0.
I I real quick, I loved Katie's comments after the game. I love that he sat down on that podium and goes, look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, there is nobody to blame on this team other than myself. This is a look in the mirror game. I was indecisive with the basketball. I did not make the correct basketball play a lot of times, and I had half of our turnovers by myself. So it is on me. It'll be better next game.
Well, I mean, I agree with the statement. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he knew he was going to get filleted at that conference anyway. But to me, that's another thing right there with in-game interviews, right? And I don't know if speaking of which, I don't know if you saw the one with Tibbs in the middle of the game, but she was trying to interview him, and he's just like sitting there like I'm trying to coach my team. I need to get back in there and coach my team. Playoffs. We're losing, and it's in the middle of a little break. Well, they're really beating you in the paint here. What do you think about that? He goes, we have to do better. Like, stop this shit, man. I don't know. The same thing with Kyle Schwarber last night. I don't know if you saw the game. Obviously, I was watching it because of the stupid fantasy baseball.
I saw the highlight.
But he was talking, and the ball was hit to him, and there was confusion between the two of them. The center field drops the ball, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Can we stop this stuff? But yes, so
a quick tangent. We grinded this week in fantasy baseball. Right?
I'm done with it. I'm done.
Our team showed up.
Done.
Right? We score like the second most points for a week in the league. And we're going into the night game. We have the starting pitcher. We're ahead. Okay? The guy that we're playing, we were up by 4 points. Right? And obviously, our pitcher was the starting pitcher for Philly. We need Philly to score 1 run so that it can take the loss away, because the loss is -5 points, right? Philly doesn't score the run. We lose.
Not only do they not score the run, that he has the save. It's then
-1. He's got Ryan Presley for the save, comes in, points. We're over here in shambles. Our team is 0-3 right now. 0-3.
4.
Our team is
0-4. 0-4.
Sure?
Yeah, 0-4.
Our team is 0-4 right now, and we're playing some of the best baseball I've ever seen from a fantasy baseball team.
Yeah.
That's sports, though, in a nutshell.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I'm going to complain about it to the people who I think are probably listening, maybe not. I'm not sure.
So this is what I'm talking about, though, when I go into, because you've seen this performance out of me in fantasy football, starting off 0-6 and all of a sudden ripping them off. Like, the general manager, I'm obviously one of the best general managers in the history of fantasy sports. I mean, there's just no denying it. The teams that I put on paper are just out of control. Out of control. The best of the best. The best Yankees lineups that you've ever seen. All of that. I encompass all of that. And these little guys out there, they just don't perform. I can't go out there and play the game for them. I can only put them in the right positions. And this team that we have is absolutely just a monster of a team. And they just show up whenever they want to show up. There's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is just do what I do.
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. And let's get back to the drawing board with Erik Spoelstra in the Miami Heat. Going into the Garden, Stephen A's house, and whooping that butt. Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy had a decent game. This game was more about Kyle Lowry, though, in my opinion. Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love absolutely carried the Miami Heat in this game. Jalen Brunson, I mentioned this. Jalen Brunson plays like the old crafty veteran at the YMCA who doesn't dunk, has just good solid fundamental layups, isn't great from the outside, but man, that mid-range game is just on point. Very interesting cat, Jalen Brunson. Got technical yesterday as well too. But yeah, Kevin Love, man. Kevin Love played great. Those outlet passes really changed the game. That was a huge swing right there. It was funny. They got crushed in the first half on 2-pointers. I'm talking about, I think they must have shot 70% on 2-pointers the Knicks did. Spoelstra comes out. Second half, they pack the paint. They go underneath every single screen, make sure nobody's driving any lanes. Everybody's helping. Defense was on fire. Everybody's rotating, and Knicks couldn't hit open threes. That was the end of the game.
Nick, 7 for 34 from the 3-point line. 7 for 34. Unbelievable. And Jimmy Butler, he was still the leading scorer of the Miami Heat. I know, 25 points, 11 boards, which I'm going to love, and 4 assists. Kevin Love did have a great game with 9 points, 5 boards, and 4 assists. But to your point, Kyle Lowry showed up. He only played 29 minutes, but 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. And some really, really big threes there to cut the momentum down from the New York Knicks. Every time that they started to make a little bit of run and try to get in, it seemed like he just hit another important shot to knock them right back down. The air was let out of the Garden last night. I mean, Miami Heat, man. They might do it.
We're having this conversation. Like, I know Jimmy Butler turned his ankle, and I know he's not going to want to miss a game. But I think for, like, the longevity of Jimmy Butler's playoff run this year, I think you just send him back to Miami. I heard Jalen Rose make this comment, and I thought it was right on point. I would punt game 2. And you send Jimmy Butler back, right? And you tell the team, listen, we're going to go out here. We're going to play hard. We got no pressure. What is the most dangerous team in sports? A team that feels like that they can play free, fast, and no pressure on them whatsoever. And I could see Miami just going out. Strus hits like 6 threes. Kyle Lowry's making shots again. Kevin Love's throwing his outlets and playing great defense. I mean, I think Martin is dunking on people. Like, it's crazy right now. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could leave there 2-0 without Jimmy Butler in game 2.
I think that it's just going to depend on the grade of the sprain, right, and how he feels. We all know that sprained ankles tend to get worse as they go along. Yeah. So, you saw him finish it. I tell you, what they need in the NBA is they need that soccer spray. That spray, when the guy's out there writhing in pain on the field, can't walk, can't put any pressure on, and all of a sudden this man runs out with his little tackle box. He pulls out this spray and shoots it on him, and the next thing you know, they're jumped up and they're running around the field. I think we need to incorporate that in all sports. Can we do that? Instead of varsity blue shots, where we're talking about ruining someone's career, let's get that spray. I'd like to get some in my medicine cabinet.
He says, like a sprained ankle, boy, I ain't nothing to play with,
Oh, boy, we're not dropping bars over here. Justice, you have been trying to tell us, but, we were skeptical, man. We were skeptical.
Justice, shout out Justice for the clip, bro.
Yeah.
Been trying to get people to do that for a long time now because we're too lazy to do it. So we appreciate you taking the initiative. And,
that was quite a funny clip that we have going on there. Absolutely.
Yeah. We might have another one in this show.
Let's hope. But yeah, so
shout out to the Miami Heat.
Obviously, Julius Randle being out was affected this game a lot. His presence on the court and just on the team in general is something to behold. Especially with the New York Knicks and what he brings to the court. We'll see if he comes back. If he comes back, I think you might see Jimmy maybe push it a little bit. But if he's still out for game 2, then I agree with you 100%. I think that the Heat have enough firepower with just motivation, depending on how much Kyle Lowry can play, though. That's another X factor. They lost Tyler Hero for the year with the hand injury. Who's going to be the next man up? Who's going to continue to do the things that need to be done to make sure
Duncan
that they're
Robinson.
still into those plays? Well, he's playing, but there was times when Duncan Robinson and Kyle Lowry were on the floor, and with two sharpshooters, or Robinson being the sharpshooter, but Lowry knocking it down, when they were both hitting them, it was that's where it created the confusion of who do we guard, right? If we're picking and rolling, who do we go on, and that's what was giving them the open shot. So I agree with you though. You stole one out of the Garden. You want Jimmy Butler healthy when he come home to because if you can defend your home court, you've done what you needed to do. You won one on the opponent's court. That's all you needed to do. I agree with you. I think it's but like you said, I don't think Jimmy's going to want to play. He's going to want to play against Tibbs. He's going to want to play against the New York Knicks. And he's going to want to play in Madison Square Garden, where Aaron Rodgers is sitting courtside watching.
Did you see where Kevin Love turned to Aaron Rodgers and said, "I got the best QBR in New York"?
No.
Yeah, after his third over the head full length pass to Jimmy Butler, which he caught on a dime, turned around and dunked, which you like to refer to as cherry picking. He turned around and
there was some cherry picking.
He turned around, looked at Aaron Rodgers, and said, "I got the best QBR in New York."
That's
Aaron,
good point.
Or whatever.
That's
it was pretty funny. The amount of celebrities that were there was hilarious, and I thought it was great. Jack Harlow posted a picture. Kyle Lowry fell out of bounds and set right on top of Jack Harlow, and Jack Harlow goes, "There's a lot of skepticism about Kyle Lowry's derriere, and and how large it is." And Jack Harlow confirmed. He said it's like a pillow. So,
well, that's something that I really needed to know in order to be able to sleep well tonight. So thank you for that information. Appreciate that. And Justice, to your point,
are very soft.
I don't know who's stopping the Heat. However, I'm not going past New York as of right now. The series has a long way to go. We'll see what happens. You can't sell that clip to OnlyFans, dude. You cannot do that. That's proprietary information. So, moving on, though, the 76ers Boston series is coming up. Embiid rumored to be out for games 1 and game 2. Boston's favored by 9.5 at home tonight. We talked about this, going into what's that? That's a lot of points.
That's a ton of points.
It is a lot of points. We talked about this, especially the way that they played against the Hawks, but I do think there's going to be a different mentality going into this Philadelphia 76ers. However, we talked about if Embiid can't be healthy, I don't know. I don't think the 76er team can win without him. They've shown that they have, but not this late in the playoffs. I think that the Boston Celtics are going to have too much for him. James Harden's going to do what he can, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I definitely think Boston wins game 1 at home. If Embiid doesn't play game 2, they're taking game 2 as well, and they're going back to a hold to Philadelphia, where hopefully Embiid can play there. But then again, we looked at the same thing. Is he even going to be healthy the rest of the series? I don't know. I think that we're getting robbed of some really great basketball here. He's more than likely going to be the MVP, which I believe is announced tomorrow. But, when you have the MVP of the league not playing in the playoffs, that's a big issue. That's a big issue. For whatever reason, the players just are getting hurt way more than they used to. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they don't wear high tops anymore.
Well... few thoughts I have about this. I think Boston, there's some kind of a divide in Boston going on right now. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure where it's from, but it seems to me like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are just not on the same page, and that situation might be coming to an end.
Really?
I don't know. Just a feeling that I get.
The feeling that I get with those two is they try to defer to each other too much. And then eventually one of them just has to take over, but they don't know who that's going to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want to make sure that each are getting their, as you like to call it, their flowers, right?
Yeah. I don't want to piss your wife off too much, but I think that the Philadelphia 76ers have been sitting and waiting and game planning and strategizing and watching the Atlanta Hawks and what they've had success doing. And I do think that the Philadelphia 76ers will win tonight against Boston in the Garden. I think that Boston, as a sports city, is reeling right now.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
I think there's a carryover. I think there's a hangover. I think there's a carryover. Give me Philly tonight. Give me Boston game 2. Give me Philly tonight. Philly wins. They're going to make this a series. Embiid will be back. I know he just got some plasma
injections.
Something with his knee. He has an LCL sprain. So, it's just about comfortability and him being able to get out there. Obviously, you have your ACL, your PCL, your MCL, and your LCL. So, just the LCL.
It's a lot of L's. A lot of L's.
Little tug on. And the L is exactly what the Boston Celtics will be taking tonight.
That is what the Philadelphia 76ers will be taking. I will take that action from you, sir.
James Harden will step up tonight. I think you will see Maxey step up as well, too. Tobias Harris playing great defense. And, yeah, I just think that they're going to rally together as a team effort as opposed to two individual really good guys like the Celtics have.
Don't you discredit Al Horford.
Not. Or Marcus Smart.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, and that's the thing, and that's why I think that the Celtics will get it taken care of, because there are so many scorers on the Boston Celtics. You have, obviously, Jason Tatum can take over. Jaylen Brown can take over. Marcus Smart can interject where he needs to interject. I think that the Boston Celtics are going to have no problem taking care of the 76ers tonight. I don't think it's going to end up at 10. I don't know, though. It could be, one of those 8-point, 6-point games. But I definitely think that they take that. And then moving forward, like we talked about, we do have the Warriors-Lakers coming up, which we're not going to we already kind of broke that one down a little bit. But I think we both agree that the Warriors are beating. Pardon me, I dropped that there.
Okay, what's going on?
I had a little issue. But I think that we both agree that the Warriors are going to beat your GOAT, LeBron James, and the Los Angeles Lakers.
Nobody ever said that LeBron was the greatest basketball player of all time. I
You
said
did.
that we don't have nuanced enough arguments about who the greatest basketball player of all time is because we can't
No.
properly
As a matter of fact,
compartmentalize
you called me out for
that
saying I don't think it's fair to
Magic-
compare different generations. You're like, oh, that's just a cop out.
that Magic Johnson, is the greatest point guard, and Jordan is the best shooting guard, and LeBron's the best small forward.
Michael
and Tim
Jordan is the
Duncan's
the greatest
power
black.
forward, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the best center, and I mean, what?
Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, and that's all there is to it. So, on that note, we're going to wrap up NBA. We're going to move on to some NHL. Well, see, there you go. And who's better?
You're talking about not going down this freaking rabbit hole.
Well, then don't go down the road. Let's move on to some Game 7 in the NHL. How about that? So the Boston Bruins, as you talked about, were in the Garden last night for Game 7 against the Florida Panthers down over there in the Sunshine, Florida. And guess what? The Florida boys went into Boston and shut them down. What a great, great series this was. The stat of the series to me was whoever scored first won. It was 3-0, 3-0 going into Game 7. Florida Panthers scored first. They won the game 4-0. Complete. It was just a great game. What excitement. I don't know if you got to see a whole lot of it, but, we were talking at the end of it, right? My wife's sitting there. She's kind of a Boston fan, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, as far as hockey goes. And we're watching the camera pan across the crowd, right? And we're looking at all of the disappointment. And I just start laughing. And we've talked about this, right? And she goes, "Why are you laughing?" I go, "Because for whatever reason, seeing that disappointment in another person's eyes brings me joy."
Joy. Sucks.
Dude, it was hilarious just watching some. They're just like,
I don't want to feel like that, I don't want to feel like that, but I have felt like that.
All the time. I felt like that in fantasy baseball this week.
Makes you feel better about yourself when you see that from somebody else. Yeah, fantasy baseball was tough. I did not get to watch a lot of this game because I was getting just
easy. You were busy. You were working. You were working. Yes.
I was busy at work.
Not today. Justice.
Some of you people who come in and dine are just
interesting people.
God.
Well, like I said, so the Florida Panthers get it done. The other team on the Tampa side, unfortunately, was knocked out. The Tampa Bay Lightning are out. The Toronto Maple Leafs closed them out, unfortunately, 4-2. The Hurricanes did close out the Islanders 4-2. The Stars closed out the Wild 4-2.
All right, Paul.
And don't say sorry to Paul. I will never say. You didn't see the rant? I said, "Hey, sorry, Paul." And he comes out and he goes, "You don't need to apologize to me. They played great. They have nothing to hang their hats on, and they have plenty of stuff to move forward." I'm like, "Sorry, dude. I will never offer my condolences again." And then he went off on another rant about something else with it. So you know what? Screw them. Screw them. Congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes. Good job. Good job. And
only thing that Carolina anything is going to win this year.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty bold statement. I mean, it's not really like, you're staying on the edge of a cliff on that comment.
You see the picture of Bryce Young barely being able to look over the podium?
Yes, I did. The Oilers did close out the Kings 4-2, and that's going to wrap it up. So one of the things on Boston that, we want to talk about is Bergeron, one of the best players out of the Boston. Has been there forever, team captain. It's possible he might be out, retired. Kind of the same path as Jonathan Toews took with the Chicago Blackhawks. One of the staples of Boston for some time. Probably one of the more underrated players that we've seen over the past few generations. So it's going to be big questions in Boston whether or not he's going to go. He did make some comments. Everything's still a little fresh right now. Again, so the first thing that they ask him after losing Game 7 at home is, "Are you going to retire?" Like, I just, some of the audacity of some of the questions that come out of the media to me are just absolutely insane.
Patrice, is that correct?
What?
Patrice? What's his first name? Bergeron?
I just call him Bergeron. That's it. It's like Madonna, Bergeron.
Right. Prince. Yeah. LeBron.
Yeah. King James. The Kraken. Yeah, crown yourself. The Kraken. The newly expanded Kraken rise from the depths of the ocean to come up and just smother the Colorado Avalanche to beat the number 1 seed and defending champions out of contention. Big day.
Yeah,
big day in Seattle.
Fun story, you know?
Very fun story. Tonight, we do have the Devils Rangers. Game 7 again. Will Aaron Rodgers be in attendance again? It seems like he's making his rounds. He's getting pimped out between every single... Which one's he going to root for? Is he going for the Devils? Is he going for the Rangers? Is he going for the Knicks? Who's he going to go for tonight? We'll see. Tune in. You never know. I am cheering for the Blackhawks of the East with my man, Mr. Kane, Mr. Panman. So I'm going for that. I know that everybody else in the world is against me, including Ian and Paul and everybody else. I'm going Rangers tonight. Game 7.
Ian.
Patrice is his name, by the way.
Isn't that what I said? I said Patrice.
You said Patrick.
I said Patrice.
You said Patricia.
Okay.
So that's going to round out. So our NHL lineups moving forward, we got the Kraken versus the Stars. We got the Knights versus the Oilers. We got the Panthers versus the Leafs. That is going to be a great series with the Leafs favored to win it all. The Hurricanes are going to wait the winner of the Rangers Devils. The President's Cup trophy curse remains intact. There's only one team that's done that since I think 2013 that has won the President's Trophy and done anything in the playoffs, and that, of course, is my Chicago Blackhawks, who won the Cup that year. Every single year since then, they have lost in the first or second round. So the curse stays alive.
Love some hockey. Nothing like playoff hockey.
Game 7, OT, dude. Is there anything like that? What was this, Jeremy? Panthers restrict ticket sales in a bid to keep Maple Leaf fans out. I like that move. But I will tell you one thing that I don't like. I guess this might actually qualify. So when the Blackhawks played the Lightning in the Stanley Cup and in the playoffs, the Tampa Bay Lightning restricted you wearing fan clothing. You could not wear Blackhawks jerseys, clothing, anything in the club level. And there was, just the club level. You couldn't wear anything Blackhawk. Couldn't be a fan of the Blackhawks. I think that's absolutely un-American. I think if the Tampa Bay Lightning fans want to sell their tickets, then I think how are you going to tell somebody that walks into a stadium that already has tickets that you can't wear an out of team jersey? That to me is the most crazy. But apparently it came from the Detroit Red Wings.
So they're restricting anything. If your mailing address has to be inside the U.S. is what they're doing.
So here's my way to combat this, right? This is the way I would do it. Obviously, I want a home field advantage for my team or home ice advantage. So basically what I do is I have 2 days of pre-sale tickets for only United States citizens, right? Or within the Florida zip codes, the state of Florida. I think that's probably a little bit better because let's be honest, there's not a whole lot of Florida Panther fans in California or New York or anywhere else. It's an expansion team. It's a very, very...
Or in Miami or in Sunrise.
Or in Miami because up until, a few seasons ago, they had like 8,000 people there. So anyway, give them 2 days of their own tickets, right? And then open it up. Because if your fans aren't going to buy them, then I'm sorry. Then that's just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Who sometimes had a 50-50 game. They're not going to restrict the sales. They want the money. So I don't know.
50-50 playoff game. Monday night. Yeah. They're chanting defense while the Bucs are on offense throughout the entire stadium.
Yeah. Brady's last game. Good job, Bucs. Good job, Buck fans. If there is such a thing. But moving on, closing it up. We did have Formula One over this weekend. We had an Azerbaijan. What? Azerbaijan, which I just learned is an actual country, not a city. That's an actual country. And to watch the races, I was talking with my cousin the other day while the race was going on. European F1 is just street courses to me are one of a kind. You got people sitting on their balconies overlooking the track. Their balcony is literally over the track. So one, they don't have to, worry about fans because you'll never see that in the United States because fans would throw something on the track. 100%. Somebody would rent it. It'd become an Airbnb. Somebody would have a party there and they would throw something on the track. 100%. Not even a question about it. That's why you'll never see it. But they're just sitting out there. They have their wine, their cheese boards, and they're just sitting there watching on the balcony, watching the car. Yeah, dude. It was such a good atmosphere. Fortunately for my team, Checo Perez did come through, took over Max Verstappen on a caution flag, which was a little bit sketch. Max Verstappen went in for the pit, and then the caution flag or the caution car came out, which allowed Sergio to get a full pit stop and still remain in first place. He took it off from there, but it was basically over halfway through it. Ferrari did come in third place. But, again, biggest disappointments for you are the Mercedes cars. They're just, with this big of a layoff, there was really no car that came in and closed the gap. It's a Red Bull or nothing right now. I don't see how anybody is catching these guys. It's great. But it was great to see Max not win. And,
yeah.
I said to my cousin afterwards, in his interview, he didn't complain. Over the team radio, he didn't complain. He just said, yeah, unfortunate, with that stop of that car, but it is what it is. Still a great win for the team. I almost fell off my couch when he said it was still a great win for the team. The word team and Max don't go a whole lot together. So to see him say that was pretty good. It was a terrible week for me in fantasy. Obviously, I forgot to set my golf lineups, which the 2 picks obviously won. I forgot to set my F1 lineups, which I ended up in dead last because I forgot to set that. And then we got crushed at the last second in fantasy baseball. I lost my other fantasy baseball. It's just, it's just a week to forget. And how am I going to forget that? Because I am going to Miami Grand Prix on Thursday. We could possibly have a live show Friday. We'll see how that works out. But that's how I'm going to erase this week.
When's the race?
Sunday.
There's no break in between? They go straight from Azerbaijan to Miami?
Yep. Crazy, isn't it? Think about
After
that.
Like a month off?
Exactly. But think about all that stuff, right? That they got to get, put on ships, planes, whatever, fly it all over, get it all set up, and be ready to go by Thursday. Yeah. Crazy.
That should be fun.
It's going to be a good time. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. We're a little...
Heat will be back in town. It's probably like Art Basel or something, too, going on right now. Like, I don't know. It's just Miami, dude.
The amount of parties that are going on in Miami this week is absolutely insane. We get an email every single day, probably 2 to 3 a day, about a new party that has been added, which sounds great, right? Except for it's Miami and it's Miami prices.
It sounded great like 12 years ago,
Yeah,
10 years ago.
But these are more like, I think, so the place that we're going out for dinner, I believe on Saturday night, right? Tiesto's performing in that same.
Let's get down to business. Give me one more night.
And then
on a million nights, just like
who's the other one?
this.
I think that the other night, Diplo is performing at the other.
Seen Diplo.
So I don't know.
Diplo and Little John in Vegas at my bachelor party.
I got plenty of Adderall. We'll see how it works out. YOLO.
Legal meth. You're fine.
YOLO. I got a script for it for anybody that's out there talking about right now, okay? This is a legal, prescribed medication for me.
Legally prescribed. Anyway, it's
Yes.
not a big deal. I'm sure your doctor knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah, I thought F1 was great. It was good to see Leclerc come in third. Obviously, Red Bull won 2. I mean, they're cheating. Are they not cheating?
They're not cheating
How do we know they're not cheating?
because they haven't been caught. Until you get caught, you're not cheating.
It's like
Well,
Bill
look,
Belichick and Patriots.
it's very interesting. So when we talk about this, we talk about how much this Red Bull car is dominating. This was Mercedes 5 years ago. Nobody could touch Mercedes. Mercedes won 7 championships in a row, I believe. Nobody could touch their cars. Were they cheating?
No.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. They just didn't get caught.
Has that ever been proven that Mercedes was cheating?
No. Nor has it been proven that Red Bull's cheating. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's just hearsay, and we're not going to participate in libel. So
that's right. We're not.
I retract all my statements I just said.
There you go. So we might
Monday.
Yeah, we might be back Friday. We might not. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I got some technical issues to work on. Or maybe we can get Jeff or Jeremy to host it, and then I can dial in. That would probably be the best opportunity for us to get a little action. So we'll work on that from the technical aspect. We are going to be back Wednesday with the recap of all of the playoffs over the next few days. Gap Wedge Wednesday. I do believe we're back to a real tournament again with real players on the PGA this week, I hope.
I think so.
That would be great.
Sure.
That would be
great.
But
it was nice to finally get a dub in golf, baby.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Shout out to all y'all for not filling out your lineups. 3.8 million points coming right your boys' way. Paulie Parputz, go ahead and shoot me that
20 bones.
Ooh, baby. I think it's 10 actually. Okay, all right, that's good. That's
just
enough.
Giving you your flowers, buddy.
That's enough.
Jeffrey is on the board in fantasy golf. You know, it's fun. Oh, now you want to jump in, huh? It's the Wells Fargo Championship. I do believe that there's some decent players in that one.
Should be good.
It should be good. Hopefully, we will remember to set lineups. I'm sure Jeffrey will hope that I don't again, so he has another chance and opportunity to win. But we will see how that goes.
I'll say it's crazy how on they are. Like for Chad to be like, "Oh, I really like this guy Akshay Bhatia this week." You're like, "What? Who? Akshay Bhatia?" I came in third.
Akshay Bhatia.
Akshay Bhatia.
Fourth.
Here we are.
Came in fourth.
Uninformed fan, fourth, whatever.
Came in fourth. So yeah, so if you got
top
outlet,
5, top 10, and top 20. I mean, come on.
Do they have like fantasy, like football fantasy on DraftKings for golf?
Of course. Yeah.
Really?
FanDuel.
We'll talk offline. Maybe we could do something. Jeffrey, anything to add before we close it up and give Mr. Justice his flowers for the Miami Heat?
Are we giving Justice his flowers for the Miami Heat? What are we doing?
We're just saying. I just did it.
Oh, congratulations, Justice, to your Miami Heat. I want to apologize for all the shitty things that I've said about them in the past. I hope that you know that I'm very biased toward my hatred of Miami and all things having to do with Miami because of the environment that I grew up and surrounded myself in. So congratulations to you. I really hope that, if there's anything I like less than Miami, it's probably New York. So, I hope you win. Hope you win
too. And that's going to do it for us today on the Uninformed Fan. It's been a drag along Monday. We're both a little tired today. We are going to come back Wednesday. We're going to have some Adderall. We're going to have some coffee. We're going to be back with lights out. We got Gap Wedge Wednesday. We got the Burrito Boys coming back on. And we will continue to plug away at these playoffs as we get closer and closer to the Stanley Cup and whatever the NBA trophy is called.
Yes.
Do you have any idea what that is?
I have nothing else to say except I hope everybody has a great Monday and Tuesday. We will see you back on Wednesday.
Larry O'Brien Trophy. Be great, everybody. Have a great day.